Hi folks, John Cordisco back again. Sorry it's been a while since my last video, but I've been busy. I'm running for local public office here in upstate New York and running my convenience store. It's taking up a lot of my time. This is the one of the games I didn't get a chance to cover from the third annual Sinquefield Cup. It's a round one game between Wesley Soa's White, new to the U.S. Federation from the Philippines, and Maxime LaGrave-Rd.1 is black from France, MVL as they call him. Let's get to it. It's going to be a symmetrical English. So is white. Maxime LaGrave-Rd.1 is black. Very well done game by Maxime. It kind of maybe blows it there, but let's go through the opening a little bit. Knight c3. Pawn. Takes. Pawn. Most of these guys don't take. Pawn captures. Piece captures unless it's advantageous to them. And there'd really be no point in capturing that knight. That's the problem. The difference between those guys and us guys is we just capture to capture, and they capture for a better position. Bishop, c5, queen checks. Now I like bishop to d7. The computer likes knight to c6 a little bit better, probably because it controls those central squares. Even though it's technically pinned now, it's hitting here, here, and here. And here, whereas the bishop wouldn't be hitting much, just make the queen retreat. Knight g5. Interesting. Let's go back here. That is the computer's move. And of course, a close second is castle, and queen to c4 is third. So this is all theory for these guys, I have no doubt. e6. Knight comes over. That's why he went to g5 to begin with. He wants that knight in the center of the board. Knight b6. Chases the queen off. c4. That pawn is very annoying right there, to be honest with you. You can't go here because they're in passant, especially not d4, because this will get traded. That's a good spot for that pawn. Knight a4. Now, typical, as they always tell you, especially if you watch the videos from the St. Louis Chess Club and Scholastic Center. There's a beginner's breakdown, they call it, a Mike Comer. He's a really funny guy, and he teaches beginners, so he's really comical. Go after the defender. The knight is defending the pawn on c4. He's going after the defender. Black castles. White takes. Pawn takes. Queen takes. Okay. White's up a pawn. Tiny advantage for black here, according to the computer, but those double B pawns aren't really worth much. For all intents and purposes, I don't think black is down a pawn. He's got a lot of maneuvering room for his pieces. This bishop looks really good. This bishop is bearing down here. This knight's in a good spot. And white isn't even castled yet. Queen to c2. Now, according to the computer, that's the last book move. Bishop comes up. Good spot for that bishop. Knight comes back. I think to stop the harassment of the queen here. b5. Bishop takes. Pawn takes. Now, white straightened out his pawns, which I was really surprised at Wesley for doing that. Granted, white's up a pawn, but to straighten them out like that is really a shock to me. Let's go back here. And the computer likes that as well. b4 a close second. I kind of like b4 myself. And there's a lot involved. That pawn isn't really free, as you'll see, but even still. So we'll go back here. Pawn takes. b3. He's going to fee and kettle his bishop. Bishop f5. Hitting the queen. Pawn comes up. No harm, no foul. Either way, this bishop can get out. Not a problem. And now, what would you pick here as black? A really good move here. The computer agrees. Bishop h3 is the computer's second choice, stopping white from castling. Or excuse me, black moves to h3 to stop white from castling. e4. Pawn takes. If knight had taken, bishop takes. That's a deflection. Because you see, once he goes e4, that knight is pinned. Pawn takes. bishop takes, knight takes, bishop takes. Now the difference in that one is usually there'll be a rook on the back rank to capture the bishop. This time it didn't happen. So let's recap here. White's got a knight and a pawn for a rook. MVL is basically up the exchange. White castles because this king's out in the open. Rook to E8 looks really good for Maxime. Even though up a point in the computer, I like black a lot. Not because he's just up the exchange. His pieces are a lot better placed. F3. Finally gets the bishop out. E3. Bishop G7. Okay, we're back where he came from. White's late-scored bishop is not doing much. It's just tough on White here, being down the exchange. Rook to D1. Queen C7 for MVL. Rook D6. White's desperately trying to get some counterplay here. Computer likes Rook E to C8, and that's good as well. But decides to go C5. So start pushing that pawn. Bishop, excuse me, Rook to D5, Rook to E5. Rook backs off. Give you an idea, if Rook had taken, Rook takes, Queen takes, Queen takes, Knight takes, Rook over. And I'll tell you, White's busted. After Rook to D1, pawn up, here it comes. And here's where MVL starts turning the screws. A3, Rook to E7, backs off. Pawn takes, Queen takes. Decides to keep the Queen. Queen to B3. Now, I'm not sure now if Wesley So's White was in time trouble or not. We just made Black's 30th move. But this is where I think he stumbles. And it's a very natural move. And you see that quite often. Where a natural move will be your doom. Queen to D6. Question mark. It's very natural. He's trying to create some play. Get the rook and capture. He should have went knight to C5 instead. And after queen to B1, E4, and I don't know if White can survive this, but it's a lot better than what he had. After queen to D6, rook to C8, here it comes. Knight comes back. Here comes the pressure. Bishop D2. Now, the queen's not guarding the rook, but the knight is right now, so it's okay for now. Bishop F8, hitting the queen. Queen comes back. Bishop takes A3. And king to G2, and that's where Wesley just resigned. He's in terrible, terrible shape. I just think he didn't want to continue. Could he have fought on? Probably, but he's down by over 3 points in the computer, and with that B pawn coming down the pike for Black, and it's just a miserable position. Miserable. Anyway, folks, that's a game from round one that I got a chance to cover earlier in my videos. I hope you enjoyed it. And as I always say, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. And I also want to thank all my new subscribers. Thank you very, very much. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.
One player, Maxime LaGrave, who's off to a great start here at the Sinquefield Cup. Maxime, when we were looking at the position, I was thinking to myself, how am I going to explain to my students that you shouldn't move the same piece twice in the opening? He played knight f3, g5, e4, then he put his queen on a4 and b5, and then he played his knight from c3 to a4. And it's like, how do you explain that position? Were you surprised by the way he was playing, just going after your c pawn?
Well, in general, going after a pawn is a good idea if you manage to keep a solid position. In fact, I had looked at this line, but it was a long time ago and I couldn't remember. But then it hit me that I looked at this, just giving the pawn, opening the a file, and getting a lot of counterplays with all my pieces, and it looked very fine for me.
Were you happy when you saw that position on the board? Because after you played e5, it just looked like Black has full compensation.
Yeah, I mean, definitely I thought I had full compensation. And then another moment when I was happy was when I found this bishop f5 forcing some concessions. Then was less sack the exchange. I think it was the right decision. And then I was not sure I played in the most precise way, but still I kept some advantage. Maybe I could have defended better at some point. I don't know, but it was quite convincing, I thought.
At one moment you went into the confessional booth. Why did you choose right at that time to go in?
Well, I mean, at first it was really messy, and then when it was exactly when I played bishop f5, and I thought, okay, now the game is calming down. I mean, I cannot be worse at all. I'm probably just better. So, you know, I was just happy to share my thoughts at this point. But it was not always the case in Norway. Actually, sometimes I shared my views when my position was dubious or even almost lost. So, but here I was just in a good mood, and well, at some point it was not working because they couldn't open the door.
Maybe you had too much to confess.
But they managed before Wesley played his move.
Great. Just one quick final thought. 5 wins in the first round, 2 wins with the black pieces. What's going on?
Well, I mean, we're giving the fans a bit of entertainment. I'm not sure it was planned for everyone, but in general, it's great to see fighting chess. That's what we're here to do. Yeah, in general. I mean, we're not here to play some stupid draws. I mean, it will happen, of course. In this kind of tournament, it might always happen, but I mean, a round like this shows that we're definitely not here to do some stupid draws.
Well, we appreciate that, and we like the way you describe draws as well. As long as you keep up the fighting chess, great win for you, and best of luck in the rest of the games.
Okay, thank you.
Maxime Vachier-Lagrave off to a fine start at the expense of Wesley So, but certainly a fantastic beginning.